Welcome everyone to this July 29th edition of What's Happening in Crypto with Crypto Lark, broadcasting to you from New Zealand and bringing you all of the latest from the crypto world and beyond. Today's top stories: babies go on the blockchain, cheating in the Binance vote, and those damned statistics. Bitcoin, $8,212. We are kind of chilling in the market over the weekend. No big movements up or down, which probably means that we're due for a big movement up or down. New polls showing only 2% of US investors own Bitcoin, but 26% are intrigued. Now, I think it's really interesting to point out here who they're counting. So they only surveyed US investors with $10,000 in stock, bonds, or mutual funds. That is an incredibly small sampling of people. Not a lot of millennials, for example, are investing in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and that really doesn't even go into counting the huge percentage of people which might only have cryptocurrency investments, let's put that out there, but also people that will only have $500 worth of Bitcoin or $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Of course, they're trying to look at traditional investors, quote unquote, and see if they're interested in investing in cryptocurrencies. And of course, it's not surprising to see that traditional investors are not interested in cryptocurrencies. They're sticking with their stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, unsurprisingly. And another interesting report, and of course you always have to question the numbers and the sources and all these things, but 3 million Brits have invested in crypto via exchanges. However, very few sought advice. Now, this goes on to say that around 2.5 million holders of cryptocurrencies in Britain do not understand their crypto investments, and that only 5% of these 3 million investors actually sought professional financial advice. One thing that I really see as being a potential problem with this is how many crypto financial advisors are there? I feel like if you were to go to your bank and say, hey, I'm interested in investing in Bitcoin, they'd say, well, we've got this great mutual fund here for you, son. That Bitcoin stuff's risky. You should get one of these 0.01% annual interest CDs, for example. You can't really go to the wolf and say, hey, wolf, would you like to take care of the sheep tonight? What do you think the answer is always going to be? It's not going to be an answer that's going to end up being in your favor. So it's interesting to see that a lot of people have just gone ahead and invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies anyway. It would, of course, be great for more people to be doing their own research and understanding a little bit more about what they are investing in. But maybe people understand more than this study actually revealed. Cryptocurrency isn't just for libertarians anymore. According to a study carried out by CoinDesk, they looked at the political leanings of the cryptocurrency community. Unsurprisingly, most people falling in the middle, whether they be liberal or conservative, a lot of libertarians and anarcho-capitalists, of course, the left-right spectrum of different cryptocurrencies. Also not super surprising, Dash being a little more right-wing, surprisingly XRP not being that right-wing. And having a look down here at some of the tribalism, quite interesting to see that a lot of people who self-identify as being nihilists, anarcho-capitalists, and libertarians all seem to love Monero. Now, this is an interesting study because I feel like cryptocurrency can move us beyond all of this BS. And why are there only certain amounts of political leanings on here anyway? What about no political leaning? Is it possible not to have a political leaning in the world today, or does everything have to go through this lens of predefined political positions? We're all just people at the end of the day, and we all essentially want to live in a better society. Continuing to use the tools of division, of course, is not the way to move us forward. And I'm not blaming CoinDesk. They're just trying to make some interesting research to make interesting articles. I get it. But trying to keep an eye on the big picture there. At the end of the day, everybody's going for the same thing. Mithril involved in illegal voting for the Binance Community Coin vote. If you come over here and check this out, it's Mithril, also Libra Credit seems to be doing the same thing. What we have are certain addresses sending huge amounts of Binance tokens to Binance, to different accounts, voting. All for Mithril. Well, for a small extent for Libra Credit as well, but the Mithril guys seem to be much better funded when it comes to this. Jeffrey Huang going out the other day and saying, "I'm friends with the biggest whales in the world." Kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod situation that, don't worry, we're going to lock down this vote. And you can actually see it's not a lot of independent voters. And I think when Binance thought up this new weighted voting system, that's probably kind of what they thought. Well, hey, everyone's going to be able to come in and vote depending on how much they have in their account, et cetera, et cetera. But what we see here is a completely broken system where we have some very rich whales, some of these accounts holding around $10 million worth of Mithril, and that's, of course, just in the accounts that we can see. Obviously, there's probably other accounts with even more, but $10 million worth of Mithril is a huge amount of money, and especially considering the total market cap of Mithril, currently, these guys have a lot to gain from getting Mithril listed over on Binance. This is not the way that it's supposed to be going down. Of course, the CEO of Binance has come out saying that vote manipulation will be dealt with strictly. So it's really, really unfortunate considering that, to see that Mithril, and it's not the Mithril company, I'm not blaming the Mithril company, I'm blaming whales really that are holding Mithril, and I don't know how involved the team at Mithril is with what's going on. You can't necessarily say that because remember, the accounts are pseudo-anonymous. We don't know who the actual person is holding that account. We can just see the BNB moving in, the huge amounts of Mithril sitting in that account. It's all very telling. I guess we'll have to see if Binance will stay true to its word and do an investigation into this, but the writing seems to be on the wall. Kick ICO has been hacked for $7.7 million. Let's just add this to the incredibly long list of hacks. Of course, $7.7 million is not that massive in the grand scheme of things, but for a small platform like Kick ICO, that must have really hurt. Hackers also compromising Etherscan.io, which there's no wallets or anything on Etherscan.io. Sometimes I feel like hackers are just out there hacking stuff because they can. But obviously, if they did break into that, they could cause some confusion in the market, but it's not like they're hacking Ethereum wallets or anything, so not so bad at the end of the day. Hashflare resumes their Bitcoin SHA-256 mining services 8 days after coming out saying that they are shutting them down. Now, the internet is running wild with theories about why this might be the case. A lot of people saying that they think it might be cheaper to continue to run the contracts with very high fees and incredibly low payouts than to have all the chargebacks start happening and deal with the lawsuits. Better to let these contracts just run until they're empty, drip feeding tiny amounts of Bitcoin into them. That may be the case. Of course, if we saw Bitcoin go to $25,000 tomorrow, these contracts would be profitable again. And that's something to keep in mind. Considering that we're due for more and more difficulty increases for Bitcoin mining, I would not be surprised to see these contracts get shut down again in the near future. Time will tell, though, what Hashflare decides to do. And a quick note about Genesis Mining as well. I know a lot of people have come out and said, well, this policy about shutting down the contracts after X amount of days is ridiculous. Genesis Mining also has such a clause in their contracts. Theirs is just a little more favorable. It's a 60 days of non-profitability versus 21 days of non-profitability. And the Bitcoin mining game is getting incredibly serious. Huge wind farm to power Bitcoin mining will be built in North Africa. These guys are going to build a 900 megawatt wind farm in Morocco dedicated to mining Bitcoin. If you have the money to build a 900 megawatt wind farm just to mine Bitcoin, bad news for any investors that want to get into small time mining. You're going to be outdone. These guys are dumping in so much money. To see the hundreds of millions, actually the billions of dollars being dumped into Bitcoin mining, you realize how serious the game is. But nevertheless, I'm happy to see more players getting involved in the Bitcoin mining game, because the more players, the better it is for the network overall in terms of security, but also in terms of decentralization. And the first blockchain baby is here. Blockchain baby, oh yeah. So what they have actually done, this is primarily focused on the better delivery of charitable donations. This is a project particularly focused on helping young mothers in Africa receive the medical aid that they might need to get, but the babies themselves are being registered on the blockchain, which is quite interesting. But soon to be moms will be able to register for things like vitamins and medical care, and utilizing blockchain technology, they'll actually be able to get those charitable donations right to the destinations, so we can have very small payments going out, taking away that need for the very costly and time-consuming international bank transfers. And of course, we'll have transparency of where that money goes and hopefully of how it actually gets spent, which is a good thing for charitable giving. Babies on the blockchain. I feel like I've seen everything now, but wait until tomorrow and something else will be on the blockchain that we would never think would be on the blockchain. And finally, I wanted to share this with you. Somebody's posted this up over on Twitter. This is the crypto Lark reimagined as Ned Flanders. Well, hi diddly hey guys, it's Bitcoin time. Thanks so much for watching the video. Let me know what you think about any of today's news stories down below in the comments section. Thumbs up the video, share these videos around the internet to help our community grow. Join the conversation over on Twitter. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.